we're looking at a inferior product on the park. You know, there was nothing there against AC Milan. I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset. I was there to support Celtic this night to the end. I cheered at the end. It's your team, and that's all I've got. The guys on the park tried their best. Some of them should, so probably all of them shouldn't be at Celtic Park, but that's another story. So, as you say, you get a meeting in a church hall. It could be 2 weeks. See how the lay of the land is, what's going on. But I think I've had DMs for guys who good friends. You've met a few of them, and these were the men who 18 months ago, you mentioned the Green Brigade. It was off a lot of pains in the arse. The same people now text me today saying, if they're out, we're out. They won't be getting back. It's not as much as the PLC policies. It's the sycophants who actually stand up, embrace the Tory ethics of seeing their own supporters. What would have happened to me?
Stay there, phone you back. Stay there. Right, crackle fucking time. There we go.
Hello?
Sounding good on you go?
No, I mean, what would have happened 25 years ago in the jungle? You know, see all these people, and as I say, I'm very lucky. I know a few guys that stand in 111 there. I've met their parents, and I've met the 17-year-old lads who have been banned for the stadium. And I remember there was maybe the History podcast that I'd put some stuff into it for up to the 1960s. And then I was recording this young boy to appear on one of them. And he said, I listened to that one this morning, it came out at 10 o'clock. I was sitting talking to my dad about that game in the 1950s. And that's a Celtic supporter. A 17-year-old boy talking to that games in the 50s. You know, anybody, the mindset, I've said to you in your show before, my brother's banner, him and his mates, I think 7 rebels up the perch, always have be, always will be. Half the panty waiters have it as a AVI on Twitter. You know, that banner was banned from the Juventus game for no reason. And when they contacted Celtic security staff, the gentleman in question asked, what does that actually mean? Nobody knows, but their soul is told me, Lord Parkhead, one of the most deprived areas in Western Europe, and it's got a lord. What does that say about it?
Right, so stop it. You're scunnering everybody. We're all scunnered as it is. We need positivity here, right? So for now, right, name Mel, because we Paulies, he's declared it. He's had enough of it. I've had enough of it as well, right? I've had enough of the cunts for one day. So now, right, we need to be positive now, because you're the best that there's ever been. I mean, I've put so many scenarios to you for calls that I've made prior to it. I've made many calls when I was doing many of the calls in the last year, and I would turn to your good self for a wee bit of advice. And I mean, just on the hoof, just for asking you one stuff, and most of the time it's spot on advice. So tell us, right, how the fuck can I hire a hall? Where's the best place to hire it? Right? What agenda should we run it on? Should I just do it as a show for myself on the basis that whatever, just let's do a fucking show, but then we're going to do the agenda. The agenda is fucking this, or do we just hire a hall and do the full agenda as fucking...
I think firstly, there's enough guys in the chat room. I recognise, obviously, Paul, Pat W's in the room, Jimmy Law will be in the room. Everybody's in the room and knows you're old. Everybody's got concerns and gripes. There may be some guys with some valid points who maybe aren't comfortable enough to phone in. First thing that's set up, you set up a Twitter account and you make it private, and all that can interact with it is folk who, are in, want to build it up. You get a core, about 100 people in it, and then you open the account up. And what happens then is you just get a feed going of what's going to be happening and what's going down. And as I say, we don't know you form a thing in Masonic Lodge for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, you build up a hardcore of people who you know what's good, and you can recommend folk to get it in, and you just build up a date. I'll give you a handbrake, give me the password, you set it up, I'll run the password. I did it with the homeboys, I run their account. You get it built up. We get a collective thing of saying, what do we want to do here? Do we want to have a meeting? 2 weeks is a long time in football. We're going to be mid-December. I've just seen one of the boys there tweeting John Paul saying that Celtic says they contacted asking for the game to be moved to the 2nd of January against Thistle, and we're not back, but Kilmarnock has, and they've been allowed to. So how comes Kilmarnock's getting more clout than Celtic, or does it suit Celtic to have everybody there on the first thing so nobody will turn up because they'll be steaming? You get a private Twitter account set up, you get so many people involved in it, everybody following it, nobody RTs obviously because it's private. You get an intelligence line set up, what's going on, what's the mood, what's everybody thinking about, nobody else can read it, mate. And you just build it up like that, mate, you know what I mean? You make a couple of points out, you get a couple of podcasts out on it. You know, it could be 2 weeks, could be a church hall. You can do it regional, mate. You know, you can organise it. You could be in the CSA, meet in the CSA before a game or after the game. Everybody pulls up. You can get a soda water in line, get the hall up the stair for an hour. Nothing's happening up there. Sit in there. Supporters' buses will be there. You know, you can get an initial meeting going and see what's going down. In 2 weeks' time, section 111 might be empty. Other parts of the ground might be empty. Other people might have chucked it. You can jump on the Celtic Nation bus, come down to there. You can sit in the room down there and talk to folk. You're in England.
What about the 14th? The next, who are we playing that day?
Is it Hearts? I can't remember. It's no man's birthday.
Hibs. We play Hibs.
Aye.
Right, so the 14th, where can we hire? You say the CSA, how many people can that take? Is that able to get hired out?
Well, I mean, you've up the stair. I mean, we Paul's in the chat room knows it's quite. Obviously, before the games, all the boys, the boys who like the bucket fats might float about it. You can be in there off the cuff just for a softie. I mean, between these, just meeting that can make it the first one. It doesn't have to be 500 folk right away. You know, it can be recorded as a podcast and put out. But the feeling is there might be a lot of folk that can't make meetings. The first thing is you want to get a groundswell to see who's actually interested in it, mate. And as I say, I'll be going through my timeline the next couple of days. I'm having a year zero. I'm just cutting out. I'm just going to say cutting out the shite. That's a terrible thing to say. I'm just going to cut out people who have no interest in me and who would benefit out of my rant. Don't interact with me. They'll probably got me in mute. They might see me getting RT'd on my timeline, what I'm saying. I know I'm an absolute crackpot when it comes to Celtic, but somebody's got to be, mate, because for every nutter like me, you, St. Sixtus, Stevie Kearney, there's 10 guys sitting, praying to get a seat in that cosy seat. And as I said to you last night, mate, you know, you could have went to the Catholic Church in Ireland in the 60s and accused them of things, and the whole country would have burned you at the stake. If you do it now, they'd agree with you. And that's what like is at Celtic Park. In 30 years' time, you'll go to Celtic Park, and the generation of apologists who back the board up everything will be dead. And the people who are 18-year-old just now standing at Mill Crest for wearing bucket hats, they're still going to be there in 30 years. So I don't know what Peter thinks he's doing. It's not as if it's 70-year-old guys that are up in arms against him. There are people who will still be at Celtic Park when Peter Lawwell was 80-year-old and in a retirement home pissing his nappies.
Right, tell me, right, we get this meeting, right, but what's an agenda and how do we enforce change? Now, I've said call it for ourselves for change too, right? What do we call it? Do we go down that angle? How do we take it?
Well, I mean, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be involved in the Celtic in it at all. I would just have a meeting to start with. And then what you do is you get the group. But I think if there's a wee Twitter account set up and it's private, and you follow it and it's vice versa, and there's a wee information feed set up, and you know, and you can screen who you want to follow it, and you build it up, and you get interest. So I say 2 weeks is a long time, but I mean it might come to, as I said to you last night, if down below are out, I'm at period, and they can stick it up their arse, and I won't be getting back to lulls away. When you see a guy like Eddie Toner, Celtic fanatic, saying on Twitter yesterday, if they're out, he won't be back, he's not doing any season ticket. When guys like that are doing it, if you'd have said to me 3 years ago, listen, there's going to be antics, I'd have burst out laughing at you. I'm the most mild-mannered guy in the world, but it's that guys like me that's a problem for Lawwell. You know, I was basically called out today. I've never sang a rebel song in my life, and if I've I know more Patsy Cline and country western songs, Tommy, than I do Celtic songs and Irish songs and IRA songs. But I respect people's cultures, what they want to sing about. I've not got a problem there. I'm of Lithuanian descent, the same as you're of Irish descent, and I promote our stadium, welcome to all, with 2,000 Jewish people running up and start getting a loud batter in. Our stadium's like a Benetton, we've got Italians, we've got Poles, we've got Lithuanians, we've got Irish, that's what we're all about. You know, I've never heard all these people mocking or they're upset or that. I mean, the most disturbing thing I've seen over this is today the Celtic Research account, which is a very moderated, you know, very middle of the road. They don't go controversial. When John Paul was saying that how they were monitoring the papers, and I don't know what papers they meant, as in civil papers coming out of the stadium, or tabloids or broadsheets. They were monitoring the papers for the fans' reaction, and that's when the Celtic Research asked them papers, question marks, and that's when I retweeted it. So but there's a lot of people on Twitter as well as supporting Celtic who maybe don't like, you know, they'll favour your stuff, they won't RT, which is absolutely fine, you know, or they'll still follow you even though you're wrong. But in 2 weeks' time, you could start a Twitter account tomorrow. You could jump on Celtic Dreams tomorrow night and see him starting this account, and probably 99% of the folk listening to Celtic Dreams will follow it by Monday. But it gives the lads overseas, in New York and Toronto, wherever they are, an opportunity to be involved, because it might take funding in later months. But the platform's there, the organisation's there. We have got social media where, you know, you could I mean, you're talking about holding a meeting. You get the folk involved in it who want to be, and the way the Zombies done that thing tonight, we've got the technology to set you up doing a live cam show wearing a balaclava, reading it. People could email you their grievances and statements. You could do a live video Spreaker show with an active chat room, so that nobody's ostracised. You could have people in Glasgow, people in Dalmarnock, obviously she's part of Glasgow, Dublin, New York, Belfast, and everybody's in that chat room interacting with you, and you're just sitting, this is Tommy Gold reading out the view of the punters.
Right, so we need what would we call the Twitter feed then? Celts for Change too? No, we don't go near the Geldorf stuff, mate. No, we don't go near the Geldorf stuff. So what do we call it then? Year zero Twitter? Year zero? PLC year zero? Until the last 40 Bovril, I'm only kidding. No, that's something to work on. Whenever I think about it, get the private account set up. And then, as I say, there's no need for everybody around me pitchforks, because that involves the Hawaiian Five-0 turning up and all that. You can sit in a darkened room, or you can sit up in the Bora Bora Mountains of Caskin Braes in a cave with a candle. I'll record you a video game, we'll do a live video podcast, you with a balaclava on, reading out the statements. You've lost the plot, you cunt. So much for your fucking cunning plan. I'd have been better phoning Baldrick from Blackadder goes fucking fifth and get him on to give a fucking... Well, listen, you've been downhill, your Black Ops has been downhill, you crackpot. You've lost the plot here. In 2 weeks' time... Fucking sacked. In 2 weeks' time... Aye. You fucking 2 weeks' time. Is that 6 weeks, aye? Is that 6 weeks altogether? Let's hear jibber jabber. Here can also say, by the way, that I love him, or an eternal grace to the great man for the professionals who died yesterday, God rest his soul. A great show. No, but I'd say 2 weeks' time, you know what I mean? If the boys and lassies say 111 are out and folks like myself are out in protest, you could be anywhere, you know. But if things are still a status quo, you could get people, set up the Twitter account, give them an email address, people could send in their emails to you, and you read them out, and you just build, this is the feeling about the Celtic supporters, and it's as easy as that, mate, and then you build it up. But get a private Twitter account set up for it, and then you batter into that again. How about having 2 weeks, the one on the Friday, I've made a plan of action on the Friday, what we're going to do for the Saturday, and then that could be the inner circle group meeting on the Friday, and then the Saturday, the game that's happening, and then boom, Saturday night, we rent out the old fruit halls in Glasgow, and then it's pay to door. We get the initial, we'll sell a few hundred tickets, and that pays for the gig, and we can have 500-600 people and then it's fucking pay to door. We hit leaflets. We hit the ground with leaflets.